Hello everybody, I'm Jessica. Today I'm going to talk about one of the biotechnology, which is the DNA fingerprinting. See, this is my content. And let me introduce what is the DNA fingerprinting for your guys. DNA fingerprinting is a laboratory technique used to establish a link between biological evidence and a suspect in a criminal investigation. See, these are some pictures that scientists are working on. Let's see a picture of a criminal scene. See, this person is lying on the ground, and these four are scientists. Here we have 6 steps that scientists are working on. They will follow the flow chart. Firstly, they have to obtain samples from crime scene and suspects. Secondly, they need to isolate and purify the DNA. Thirdly, they have to increase amount of DNA by using the PCR. Next, they cut DNA by using some limited enzymes, which are restriction enzymes. And then they use gel electrophoresis to separate DNA fragments. Finally, they can compare DNA fingerprint pattern from crime scene to patterns from suspects. And let's see how these scientists work on it. See, firstly, as I told you that they have to collect the DNA from the crime scene. So here we have a pack of blood, which is the evidence for them to identify who is the criminal. From this evidence, we found that there are 2 or more than 2 persons were been there. So after they perform PCR on rapists, they have to use gel electrophoresis to identify which person is the criminal, or both of them are criminals. This is a cartoon of this application that I offered there. You can see it later. After doing this step, this scientist can see whether these samples match or not. You see, it appears that the second one is matched with the original one. So the second one should be the criminal. Let's see the application in past, present, and future. I did a table for it, so you can see it clearly. The past, which is the history of it. So let's see the past. The major themes and the time periods for forensics, DNA analysis, and research leadership. And for the present column, which is nowadays they set the genetic marker systems and the DNA database grows and used in the USA. And finally, we have critical challenges we have to face many critical challenges today. And finally, let's see the future column, which we will face in the future. The future may be more faster, higher, and stronger. Faster, which means we can get the result more faster, and we can reach the higher sensitivity and information content, and we can get stronger conclusion with challenging samples, which are the samples which means more difficult. Okay, next let's see some pros and cons of this application. Yeah, I also give you the table, so you can review it. For the props, the first one I wanna say is it can be very simple and less intrusive testing. Less intrusive testing means the scientists don't have to get samples into our body. So, for example, in the criminal scene, the suspect's biological footprints, even those rarely visible to the eye, like smudges of blood. Like I put the big picture in here. You can see just a little smudge of blood or hair strand here. The hair strand and the saliva are enough to identify the person who is the criminal. So this means less intrusive testing. And for the second one, it can reduce innocent convictions, which means let me explain what is the innocent convictions. Innocent convictions means we did a mistake. Means we identified the person who did not break the law, so we did a mistake. So the props of this application, it can reduce the rate of innocent convictions. And for the final props, the final advantages of it is it can help solve crime and identity issues. The issues, which means, for example, if the crime scene is very old, it doesn't matter because the DNA molecule, does not denature very easy. So it means the DNA molecule cannot, they won't change very easily. So whatever is whether this crime scene is old or new, it doesn't matter. We also can solve this problem. And then for the cons column, the first one, which is it can be a violation to one's privacy, as we know that if we do this thing, it will break the individual privacy. And for the second one, it raises concerns over third-party access. And for the third one, it can be used the wrong way to convict innocence. For the societal concern, from my personal opinion, I think that it will reduce the rate of crime. Why? Because as I talked before, it is very it will more advanced. So more and more people will afraid of it. They will scared of it. So I think they are more they won't do the crime thing in our future. So this application is good for our society. It can reduce the rate of crime. Okay, finally, let's see some ethical and societal considerations. This is my summary of it. I think in order to respect individual privacy, DNA profiling should be strictly limited to judicial use and performed by accredited laboratories. This is my references. So if you guys want to investigate on it, you can search on these websites. Okay, thank you for your watching and listening.